what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make Thors hammer, Mjölnir. By the way, if you have any more Avengers related needs, feel free to check out the card system and the link below in the description for my Avengers tutorials playlist. I have quite a few things in there ranging from pixel art to statues to things like this. But now that all of that's out of the way, if you want to make Mjölnir, here's what you're going to need. You will need some light grey wool. Also, grab yourself some black stained clay, and finally, grab yourself some cyan stained clay, and those are the only three materials that you're going to be needing. So once you have those, and once you've figured out where you want to make it, I'll be making it right here. You're going to want to kick off Mjölnir with this sequence of blocks in a row on the floor. Do one light grey, then two cyan, then one light grey. That's it, you just want to have those 4 blocks to kick this thing off. Once you have this row of 4, we're now going to, on top of each one of these light grey walls, starting with the left one, we're going to stack a sequence of blocks on top of these light grey wall, and prepare yourself because it is quite the sequence. So, on top of each one of your light grey walls, do this sequence of blocks. Do one cyan, one light grey, 2 black clay, 1, 2, 1 light grey. We're now going to repeat this next pattern 7 times in total. So we're going to do 3 black clay, 1, 2, 3, then 1 light grey. And we're going to do that 7 times. So that'll be the first, then 3 black clay, 1 light grey, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1 light grey, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1 light grey, that's 4, 1, 2, 3, 1 light grey, that's 5, 1, 2, 3, 1 light grey, that's 6, 1, 2, 3, 1 light grey, that's 7, and once you've repeated that 7 times, we now want to, on top of the 7th repetition, do 2 black clay, then 1 cyan, then 2 light grey, to give us a row which should in total, once I've finally zoomed out, which should in total look a little bit like this, nice and simple. And once you've done that on the left hand light grey, we now want to do the exact same thing on the right hand light grey. So going up on top of this, you don't actually really need my help, guys. All you have to do to complete this one, if you just look to the left ever so slightly, you can just copy block for block what you did on that most left hand light grey. So that's exactly what I'm going to do, just copy the row that you did on the left hand light grey on top of this right hand light grey, and that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm just looking over at what I've just done there, and I'm just applying it here. So you want to end up with 2 exact rows like this. A lot of zooming out required for this tutorial. Once you've got that on top of both of your light greys, this is what you want to do for these 2 center blocks. So we'll just do 1 row coming up on top of this left cyan clay first, then we'll do the same thing to the right. So coming up on top of this cyan clay, you want to do 1 light grey, then 2 cyan. You then want to do 1 light grey, then 3 black clay, then 1 light grey, 3 black clay, 1 light grey, 3 black clay, 1 light grey, 3 black clay, so on and so forth until you eventually reach the top of your hammer. Now, when you do reach the top of your hammer, you'll eventually want to change the pattern, and I'll point out to you guys where that will be. So once you reach the top here, you'll want to do 1 cyan and then 2 light grey, but let me just show you what we've done there. Once you reach a certain breakpoint that I kind of pointed out, you just want to keep repeating that same pattern over and over again. It's just 3 black clay, 1 light grey, and as you guys can see, it should just look a little bit like this. And when you eventually reach the top, you just want to do your cyan and your light grey wall. Let's do this again, shall we? So we can just copy this one here, but it's just easy enough to do it once more. So on top of this cyan clay, do 1 light grey, then 2 cyan, 1 light grey, 3 black clay, 1 light grey, 3 black clay, so on and so forth until you eventually reach near the top of your hammer, and then you'll just have to do one cyan and then 2 light grey. Oh, here we are. When we hit cyan, we do cyan, then 2 light grey, and that is exactly what we want to have for the front part of Mjölnir's handle. So we just want to have something which should look a little bit like this. Nice and simple. Now, once you've got the front taken care of, we're now going to do the sides of the handle, and we're also going to do the back as well. So, assuming that this is the front of your hammer, let's say this is the front of your hammer, you now want to come to the back of your hammer, and what we now want to do, you see these two side parts that we have here? Well, we basically want to take each one of these blocks that we have on the sides, and we kind of want to extend them, come in towards the back, each by 3, like this, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. You want to take each one of these blocks that we have on the left and right hand side, and we just want to extend them, going towards the back of the hammer, each by 3, and it is as simple as that. So just take each one of the blocks. It's going to be a pretty lengthy process, but hey, it has to be done. And you just want to extend each one of them back towards the back of the hammer by 3. And that's exactly what I'm doing. We've started with this right hand side first, and then we will do the exact same thing on the left. So we've just reached the top here, so there we go. That is the right hand side of the hammer done. We're just extending the exact same blocks going towards the back of the hammer. Now we have to do the exact same thing on the right hand side now. So we're on the right hand side, 3 light grey, then we've got cyan, then light grey, black clay, so on and so forth until we reach the very top of the hammer. And then we'll just have the 2 center blocks to fill in on the back. And then we can move on to the wrist strap, and then we can move on to the big heavy metal part of the hammer. So we're just very casually filling in the handle. Nothing to say here, nothing to say. Unfortunately, I would really like it if I did have something to say. Oh, wonderful, we've reached the top of the side. That almost got awkward. So you just want to have both of the sides completely filled in, like this. Now, coming to the back is also extremely simple. To complete the back, just copy what you did on the front onto the back of your hammer. It's as easy as that. Just look directly forward and copy exactly what you did. So, I'm doing exactly that. I think I've went wrong already. Yeah, I've went wrong already. I should have done 2 cyan, then light grey. There we go, easy mistake, there we are. So, I don't know what I was looking at, I don't know what I was copying off for just a second, but it definitely wasn't the front part of the hammer, so just look directly forward at what you did on the front side, copy it onto the back, and you'll have no problem whatsoever. It's a very simple pattern. My bad. I'm not even thinking, I'm kind of turning my brain off, and I think that that's where I'm going wrong. So, we've reached the top here, and what you want to end up with is something that should look exactly like this. And this is the handle. Very nice looking. Once you've reached this point right here, this is what you want to do next. So, you're on the front of the hammer, you want to come all the way over to the left hand side, and you want to come all the way down to the bottom. Coming out of these 2 middle bottom blocks of the left hand side of your hammer with your dark grey clay, do this sequence of blocks. So going left like this, it's actually easier from this position. Do 2 black clay, then do an up left diagonal, then go left by 2, 1, 2, then do a bottom left diagonal, then go left by 3, 1, 2, 3, then do an up left diagonal, go left by 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then do an up left diagonal, then an up right diagonal, go right by 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then connect everything together with a bottom right diagonal, and the sort of shape that you want to have made is something that should look exactly like this. Easy enough, it's just a row of 2, 3, 4, 8, 1, 6, 1. Easy enough. So you also want to have the exact same thing in the block behind it as well, so we just want to kind of just double up on what we've made. And this is just the wrist strap that's at the bottom of the hammer, just so that he doesn't miss the hammer, I guess, so that it doesn't fall off of his wrist. Although, I'm not sure why that would matter, since Thor can just kind of like bring it back with telekinetic powers. I'm not sure why he needs a wrist strap, but hey, I'm not a superhero, what do I know? So, once you've reached this point right here, this is what you want to do next. So, come all the way up to the top of your hammer. You're on the front of it again. You want to take each one of these 4 light grey blocks that we have right here on the front of the hammer at the top of it, and extend them, coming towards you each by 6, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, that's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that's 6. There we go. So you want to have something which should look like this. We're now going to build up the general shape of the hammer. So, starting from this left-hand light grey block, you want to go left by 11. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Like that. You then want to go up on top of this 11th block by 1. Then left 1. Then up 1. Then left 1. Then up 1. Then left 1. You then want to go up by 8. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You then want to go right of this 8th block by 1. Then up 1. Then right 1. Up 1. Right 1. Up 1. You then want to go right by 25. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. You then want to go down from this 25th block by 1. Then right 1. Then down 1. Then right 1. Then down 1. Then right 1. You then want to go down by 8, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You then want to go left by 1, then down 1, left 1, down 1, left 1, down 1. You now want to go left of this block until you reconnect all the way back to where you first started. So the shape that you want to have formed should look exactly like this. It's looking very hammery, if I do say so myself. So what we now want to do is this. So come to the bottom left hand side of the face of the hammer. You're actually looking for this block right here. Can you guys see the one that I'm talking about? Well, starting from on top of this block, going right, with your cyan clay, do a row of 8. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then do an upright diagonal from the 8th block. Then go right of that diagonal by 7. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I kind of lost count. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. Wait. Hang on. Guys, I done goof. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There should be 8 blocks there in total. 1 plus 7, 8. Sometimes doing this just completely scrambles your mind. Once you've got your row of 8, you then want to do a bottom right diagonal, go right of it until you connect to the opposite side of the hammer. So you want to end up with something that should look like this. Once you've done that, you then want to come all the way over to the left hand side of your hammer again. And on top of this light grey wall that we have here, you want to go up on top of this light grey wall with your clay until you reach the top of the hammer, like this. Then, once you've done that row, you want to do a row of cyan clay that kind of just comes underneath the top part of your hammer, like that. Then, when you reach the right hand side, do a bottom right diagonal from the end block, and then connect it to the bottom of the hammer. So you've kind of formed, a squarish shape. Once you've done that, we just have a couple of alterations to do on the left and right hand side. So on the left and right hand side, starting from on top of this light grey block here, you just want to do this pattern. Do 1 cyan, 1 light grey, 1 cyan, 1 light grey, 1 cyan, 1 light grey, so on and so forth until you eventually run out of room. Like this. Now, once you've done that in that right-hand column there, you want to do pretty much the exact same thing in this left one. So, cyan, light grey, just alternate the pattern until you eventually reach the top. Like that. And of course, once you've done that on the left-hand side, you want to do the exact same thing on the right-hand side. So, we're on the right-hand side now. Let's move these two next to each other. There we go. So, it's cyan, light grey, so on and so forth until you eventually fill up all of the room like this. Just like that, and what you want to end up with is something that should look in total exactly like that. And all we have to do now is just completely fill in that middle section of the hammer with light grey wool. But we're actually going to do that a little bit later on, because what we now have to do, what we've now done to the front of the hammer, we now have to do the exact same thing to the back of the hammer. So we're now going to move all the way over to the backhand side now. We're going to take out our light grey wool. And coming out of these 4 light grey blocks, we want to do our 4 rows of 6 coming out of the back. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whoops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just like that. Then we want to take this left-hand block and we want to go left of it by 11. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Then on top of this 11th block, go up by 1. Then left 1, up 1, left 1, up 1, left 1. Then go up by 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then right 1, up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1, up 1. Then go right by 25. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then, from this 25th block, go down by 1, right 1, down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1. Then go down by 8, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then go left 1, down 1, left 1, down 1, left 1, down 1, then connect everything back together, just like this. And there we have again our general shape, nice and simple. Once you've got that taken care of, we now want to take out our cyan again. Starting from this left hand side, we want to have a row of cyan, a row of 8 cyan going right, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, upright diagonal, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, bottom right diagonal, then connect it all the way over to the other end like that. So we just want our 3 rows of 8 just in the center like this. We now want to kind of form a big rectangular shape, and I'm doing this ever so slightly quicker, guys, just because we've done this once before. I'm sure that you guys will have no trouble doing this. It's all quite easy, especially once you've done it once before already. So there we have our general shape out of the cyan. Then on top of this block, we're just doing the little runey parts on the left and right hand side of the hammer, and of course that's just the alternating pattern, alternating between cyan clay, light grey clay, there we go, and on the left hand side as well, like this, and whoops, that's 1 row done. This is the 2nd row done. There we go. And that is all of the detail that exists on the front and back of the hammer. As a matter of fact, we only have one thing left to do now, guys. So once you've reached this point right here, isn't this kind of crazy? Doesn't this kind of look like the outline of like a Game Boy Advance, and we're kind of looking into another Game Boy Advance? It's kind of freaking me out. Anyway, once you've reached this point right here, come all the way to the center top part of your hammer. Can you see where we have these 4 empty spaces here? Well, we now want to mark these out on top of the hammer. So take each one of these 4 empty spaces and kind of raise them up until they are actually higher than like the light grey part of the hammer itself. On top of Thors' hammer there exists like a little nub on top that kind of like, that's where the handle goes through and it kind of like pokes out at the top, which is what we're just marking out now. It's actually easier to do it whilst everything's nice and open, and it will be covered up later anyway. So just do 4 rows of cyan clay coming out of the top of the hammer. It doesn't really matter what height as long as they eclipse the light grey sections that we have on the front and the back. And all we have to do now, once you've done that, is we've got to fill in the front and back parts of the hammer with light grey, like this. We're just going to completely fill in the front and back faces with light grey, as I'm kind of doing now. And then all we have to do after we've done that is we have to connect the front and back part of the hammer together with our light grey wool. And that just, we're pretty much just bridging the gap between the front and the back. So we're just going to build up rows like this, connecting the front and the back part of the hammer together, just like this. And you know what, guys? I don't do this very often. As a matter of fact, I used to do this all the time, and I don't really do it anymore. I'm going to cut out, I'm going to do all of this. I'm going to add in all of the light grey to the front and the back part of the hammer. I'm also going to connect the front and the back exactly like I'm doing now, and the way that you do that is you just take each one of the outer light grey blocks like I'm doing now, and you just connect them together like this. So you just want to connect the outer parts of light grey just for an instance, you won't connect these together, you'll connect this one together. You just want the outer shape. You just want to connect these together, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. It's going to take a really long time. That's why I'm cutting it out. It's going to add like an extra 10 minutes onto the tutorial. It takes a really long time, so I'm going to cut out, I'm going to add in all of the light grey necessary, then we're going to come back, edit the middle top part of the hammer, then we'll be done. So I'll be back in just a moment, guys, once I've added all of the light grey. It's going to take a long time, trust me. I don't like doing this. Alright guys, so as you can see, I have completely finished filling in the head of the hammer, the front, back, sides, bottom, and the top, if we can ever get there, the top, all filled in with light grey wool. As simple as that, guys, as simple as that. Nice and simple, nothing much to it whatsoever. So once you've reached this point right here, and unless you've paused the video, I highly doubt you haven't, I'm pretty sure that you're probably still filling this thing in. It takes a long time. I think it took me about 7-8 minutes, something ridiculous like that. Once you've reached this point right here, the last thing that we have to do is come all the way up to the top of the hammer, and you guys can see where we placed these cyan clay earlier. All we want to do is just knock down those cyan clay until they just poke out of the top of the hammer each by one, like that. And it's as simple as that. It's a very small detail, but it is a detail. It is on top of the hammer, and if you want, you could also extend them out if you wanted to. You could make them a little bit larger if you like that aesthetic a little bit better, but there is something on top of the hammer. It has got like a little stopper on top or whatever, where the handle kind of pokes through or whatever it's supposed to be. So that is Mjölnir. That is it, 100% fully completed, guys. Once you've filled it in, you've pretty much finished. So let's take a look at this thing, shall we? It actually takes quite a long time to rotate around, so I guess I'll rotate around most of it, and I might not talk through all of it. So this is Mjölnir once it's been 100% fully finished. It's a pretty nice looking hammer. I did really mean to do this after the first Avengers film came out. Like, I had it in my head that I was going to do it then, but only until recently, after I watched the second one, I decided that it was about time to do it. I did also wrestle with a couple of things with this hammer. I kind of wondered whether it'd be a good idea or not to add the hand strap, the wrist strap at the bottom of the hammer, but I think that definitely adds to it. I also heavily contemplated whether it was worth having the cyan clay on the top to kind of like simulate the runes that's around the top of Thor's hammer. If you guys don't know, if you've never had a bit of a look, Thor's hammer, it has a load of runes around the top of it, Asgardian runes or whatever the hell they're supposed to be, I'm not entirely sure. It has a load of those around the top of the hammer, so I kind of wanted to simulate them, and it's kind of difficult as well with the limited amount of space, but I think I did a pretty decent job. I think that the hammer looks really good overall. I think I definitely did a really good job of it, and considering that nobody else has done it, I suppose that there's now a benchmark out there, isn't there, guys? Now somebody else can come along and one-up me if they so choose. So hopefully you managed to make this no problem. It's not a difficult build, it's just a big one. Hopefully you made it no problem. Thanks for watching, guys, and do remember that if you want to have some other Avengers builds in your world, check out the card system and the link below in the description for my Avengers tutorials playlist. Again, thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one.